Same thing. Hello, welcome. I don't know what that was, but hello. Welcome to my stream. Today we're going to be talking about robots. And before I even get started, what we were discussing right before I hit go live, anything is going to count as a robot. I know I've been pedantic in the past between the differences between a robot, an android, and a cyborg, but for the purposes of this stream, all of those are on the table. Like, everything will count. It's fine. Even something like the completely organic robots from... well, Scarlett Johansson, I think she is a robot. From Battlestar Galactica, that'll count. You know, stuff like that. But Battlestar Galactica is not a movie, but whatever. Again, I'm just going to be really loose with the rules. That's true, I guess. But those... Okay, you're right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, there were Battlestar Galactica movies. Even the remake had movies. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. But before we get started, let me say hi to some people in the chat. Let's see. We've got like multiple iterations of Scott here. The From Here to Paternity podcast. And I did want to say right off the bat, we're not actually going to have a From Here to Paternity stream today. It's just the weekend didn't work out. Schedule's complicated. We had a hard enough time juggling for this stream. So we'll probably be back in 2 weeks. And then let's see, Lance is here. Hey, Lance. And let's see. Vim Vanderstraten is here. Hello, Vim. Always good to see you. You never seem to miss one of my streams, and I appreciate that. Channel member and Patreon, Indie Spoats, is also here. Oh, does AI also count? That's a good one, because I did think about a few AIs. I'll go ahead and say yes, just because that's kind of how loosey-goosey I feel like being today. So sure, we can count Colossus, if you want.
It's listed. Believe it or not, it's listed on a lot of robot websites.
Oh, is it really? Oh. That makes sense. Yeah.
Or her.
Her, I get her, yeah. Scarlett Johansson again.
Yeah.
Although that was originally somebody else, wasn't it? And like Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, it was. And then she came. Yeah, it affected how she acted because she had to do everything in the same speed and what have you.
Tenor and all that. Yeah. Hey, the rhythm had to be the same. Yeah,
exactly.
It's kind of like doing a voiceover. Yeah. Oh, and Sean is here. Hello, Sean Ennis. Always good to see you too. Got a few of my regulars already here. That's awesome. I'm sure more will trickle in as we go.
Hey, guys, don't forget. After this, Dave's doing his members stream today.
Yes, Dave is doing a member stream today, and Thrash is going to be on... What is it, Thrash?
It's the Entertainment Headquarters with Kevin Lambert. He's a new channel. We're all really pulling for him. He's got some great stuff already posted and has asked me to be a guest. By the way, Lance, I'm going to sublet this to you. Please give Dave my commiserations for not being able to do his members-only channel. I'll watch it replay. Please.
I tend to miss a lot of Dave's streams and always have to watch him on replay, but he's forgiving, obviously.
When you have 1 million followers, you can be forgiven.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He's got so many more subscribers than any of us. Let's see. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to talk about my favorite robot. Well, wait, okay.
Real quick.
What's up?
When do you want me to let you know, like, the ones I missed from the last stream? Or the
Oh, right. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that first. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Because Damian missed the last episode of our alien invasions. He really wanted to read into the record his list because we missed a few. So yeah, go ahead, Damian, take it away.
The first one would be Little Shop of Horrors. If you watched all the extras on that one, it is definitely an alien invasion movie because they were coming to take over the planet.
I do much prefer the alternate ending. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, the alternate ending is way better. You already got Andromeda Strain. I want to mention The Arrival, not Arrival, but The Arrival with
right.
Edge of Tomorrow was a good one. The Tomorrow War, another one.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Monsters, if you've never seen it, it's an interesting movie.
Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Pixels, and
Oh,
a
I
fun
forgot
one.
that.
Yeah, a
forgot
fun
that
one.
was
The
in it.
Coneheads.
Oh, Coneheads.
Yeah.
I even referenced that like yesterday with
I have
my
a whole
wife.
bunch more, but those are the big ones that I wanted to just mention because those are so. And I'm glad that somebody brought up Killer Clowns. So
Yeah, I knew that was going to be on your list, so I
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
mention it.
yeah, there was a couple. Yeah, every single one that you guys brought up was like one that, like Under the Skin. Oh, I so wanted to talk about that one because that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson again.
Yeah, again, yeah, she's in a lot of movies. So, yeah, great job, everyone. That was a good stream, and I enjoyed watching it after the fact. So,
Yeah, whenever I have to do an off week, it's a lot harder for Damian, so
yeah,
I'll try not to do that.
it's okay. It happens. Oh, and we are joined by Morris. Hi.
Oh, now it's a stream. Now we'll start getting people coming in.
There we go. We got a cat, right?
Now that there's a cat.
Yep.
Which reminds me...
A ginger cat at that.
There we go.
Do you know that the
There it
Chinese
is.
word for panda is red cat?
Really?
I did not know that. So, what's a red panda? A red cat?
I never
Well, it's
got
not a
that
panda
far.
at all. Maybe that's why it's red panda or whatever because of that.
My Cantonese is limited at best.
Ah, the Phantom Productions is here, and he's watching my Twilight Zone review at the same time. I'm not sure. Did the one that I did that one drop yet? Because I didn't think it was supposed to drop until like 2:00. But I got a Twilight Zone review that's going to drop at 2:00 if it hasn't already. And that one's got Jack Klugman playing the trumpet, which is a classic episode. Anyway, so yeah, I will get started with my favorite robot and probably the first robot, and that is the Machina Mensch from Metropolis. Maria. If you've seen Metropolis, you obviously, I mean, even if you haven't seen Metropolis, you know the Machina Mensch. It's what C-3PO is based on, visually. And yeah, it was built by Dr. Rotwang, who was a mad scientist who was trying to control the masses. And he really wanted to like revive his dead lover, who was also the wife of the leader of Metropolis. It's really convoluted and complicated, but like it was a robot that eventually turned into an android. It took on the shape of this like religious figure in the underground to try to control the workers and subjugate them and all that stuff. But the Machina Mensch, just iconic, looks great. And even today, even though this is a silent movie from over 100 years ago, it still kind of holds up. I love it. So yeah, that's it. That's the first one I wanted to bring up because it feels like that's where we got to start. Metropolis.
You know, I didn't even bother to put that on my list. 'Cause I knew even if I was number 2 right now, it wouldn't get to me. I knew that was going to be the first one out the gate. And yes, it is certainly the granddaddy, or should I say grandmama, of them all. There may have been some precursors, but yes, that is the robot to which all of the robots are modeled since. And because it wasn't simply a machine, it had a persona. It was interactive, for want of a better term. And yes, I'm so glad that actually made it into the record.
Anybody else have anything to say about Metropolis?
Good news.
I haven't watched it. Like I was trying to think because I knew that was going to come up, and I was trying to watch it this week, but I didn't get a chance to rewatch it. I haven't seen it for almost about approximately 30 years, and so. But it's one of those like I remember being in college, and yeah, Tracy's right.
Okay.
Like it's one of those that where it's a silent movie, but it leaves you with such an impact that it just lasts with you forever. And it's just absolutely, even though it's not the first, it's the one that set the standard. Right. And so like, to me, like that's what all other like robot movies are built upon. And
No, when people come to me and they're like skeptical of silent movies, like, can I ever watch a silent movie and really be that invested? Metropolis is always the one I bring up. Even though it's almost 3 hours long, I feel like even like normal people who aren't used to silent movies can get invested in it. It really does work. So yeah, that or Nosferatu, but we've talked about
Nosferatu. That's an
Broken
entertaining
Blossoms, I think, also holds up. I don't
Yeah,
know if
that's
you
pretty good
listened
too.
to that.
Yeah.
Broken Blossoms
hey,
are amazing.
But speaking of Nosferatu, Eric has on his theater show. Has
Yeah, it's
that,
one of the
so-
few that never got any kind of copyright hits. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's still up.
Yep. So watch it. It's great.
I was on that one, wasn't I?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
I think I was on that
Yeah.
one.
You were on most of, if not all of them. I'm not sure you missed any.
I think there were one or actually two that I did miss, but for whatever reason. But yeah, I
happens.
thought I was on that one. But
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I've done so much, I've forgotten what I've done. Like Benny Hill said, go to Britannica, see what I wrote.
John in Poughkeepsie's here. Hi. And he mentions Mr. McTavish from Superman. I don't think that's going to come up, but I wanted to read it into the record because holy cow, he's right. That is so scary. That traumatized me as a child. Okay, anyway, Thrash, it's your turn.
I'm going to go. I wouldn't say deep, but I'm gonna pick sort of a vintage one myself, not as vintage as Metropolis, but I'm gonna go with Box from Logan's Run.
Logan's Run. Yeah.
Box. There's just something so amazing. The design is utilitarian. I mean, it's got like a square bottom roller chassis. It looks like something like a person with mobility issues would have. The face doesn't even have like really eyes. It's just that sort of single reflective face plate like they used in THX 1138.
Right.
Somehow that's more riveting than a robot with eyes. Just that sort of featureless reflective face. And it's voiced by Roscoe Lee Brown, who has one of the coolest voices in American cinema. And there's so much inflection there. I mean, when we first meet him, am I not wonderful? He's this like really iconic figure. And then when you find out he's become a serial killer, the reveal, I think it's the best part of the whole darn movie. And I love the premise behind it is that robots, because they're actually on some level, because they're thinking creations, they can actually overthink things. They can actually have the equivalent of breakdowns. It's different, of course, because they're not human brains. But yeah, just the idea it's like the toast butterer in Rick and Morty. What is my function, you butter toast? Oh, dear God. Box had one function, process proteins from the sea. And when that stopped coming, be like, well, I'll just process humans instead. I love the layers to it. And for some reason, I saw that movie when I was like, I think 11. And of all things in the whole movie, that actually is the only thing that stayed with me. And that trumps Farrah Fawcett.
Wow, that's saying something. But no, like I like the Box in the movie is very the actual twist that he's a serial killer actually is works a lot better than it does in the book, because in the book he's a gross looking half human parted cyborg thing. Like, this thing's evil just by the way it's described, whereas in the movie you're not really sure what to make of it. It's very cool. I love Box, and you're right, it's probably the best part of the movie, but I'm not sure if I would agree. I have to think really hard.
Free country.
Yeah. I do love the fight between Michael York and what's his name? The other Sandman in the Capitol building at the end. I love that. That's the climactic fight is great.
And Peter Ustinov is great. Okay, and with all the cats and stuff.
Peter Ustinov and the cats. Yeah.
That's for you, Damian. All the cats.
There's something wrong with the sound?
No, we're all good. You still there, Lance? Because it's your turn.
Yeah, you're feeling a robot.
Oh, weird. Maybe your connection is kind of messed up, but you seem fine. I don't know.
There you go. That's better.
Maybe my connection is messed up.
Done.
Oh, yes, I'm good.
Go for it.
How about the good old $6 million man?
Oh, yeah, that counts. He's a
We have two
cyborg.
cats now.
Because
Uh-oh.
on Pluto right now, they got a channel called Universal
Mr.
Action,
Pickles.
and they just play $6 Million Man all day, I think. You have the Fembots.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Then
you
you had
go.
the Death Probe
Yes, the Death Probe.
and Bigfoot.
And Maskatron.
Maskatron, yep. And
R.I.P.
Josh
Mr.
Saxon
Saxon.
was a robot in that show. He was like the first Fembot.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And
Richard
that-
Jordan. Thank you, Sean. I always think of him as Mr. Prescott from Secret of My Success because I watched that movie way too much in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on Aunt Vera. Don't good.
Auntie Vera.
Man, she
I love that
attacked
movie.
him in the office. I went, oh my goodness. I'm gonna have you for lunch. How about a ham sandwich?
That's a good movie.
Yes.
But there are no robots in it. Yeah, Helen Slater. She's good. Yeah.
Helen Slater's a robot?
No, she's not a
explains a lot.
robot.
It would explain a lot.
She's just related to Christian Slater, so that explains why she's so weird.
He's
Yeah,
a
the Legend of
robot.
Billie Jean.
Yeah.
I have to watch that movie again. I haven't watched it in years. Look how relevant it's becoming.
Oh, and by the way, Logan's runs on Tubi.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got
Cool.
that. I've got that Tubi and Sling. It's free on those.
Nice.
And so right now, if we were in Logan's run, we'd all be dead.
Well, yeah.
Can't live past 30.
That sounded like a mix mash of two different Shakespeare lines. To be a slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
Sure.
I'm just reforming. I'm sorry.
I also like to think like Box collecting proteins from the sea. He's just like left over from the same universe as Soylent Green, you know?
You know, I mentioned that to somebody and they didn't buy it, but I'm like.
He also turned to humans, you know? Like, it makes sense.
We are the food.
At the very least, I think it's a nod. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But, yeah.
You
Although
are what you eat.
The craziest thing is that subplot isn't there in Make Room, Make Room.
Yeah, I know. It feels like the main point of the movie is not in the book. Yeah, at all.
But I like the movie. It's one of the few cases where I like the movie better.
Yeah.
I really do.
I
You know,
agree.
if they remade Soylent Green today, it'd be all vegans.
Well, Soylent Green is a product out today. That's the funny thing.
That is funny.
I
Yeah.
know.
They're early, they don't do it anymore, but their early advertisements used to lean right into it. It was great. Anyway, Damian, I think it's your turn now.
Dude.
I am gonna go with. In fact, I just watched your one of your episodes about this movie, Forbidden Planet.
Ah, it was
Robbie-
definitely
Robbie
on my
the Robot.
list. Yeah.
I knew it was gonna come out, so I had to. I'm gonna lead with a classic. So it's a great movie, and that robot. I mean, not only was he funny, but it was just everything about it. The way the head was open or glass, and you could you could see all the little things moving. And when you go to talk, it would move and make clicking sounds like an old mechanical computer or something. It was
Wow.
yeah.
Can I have that?
Yeah, I need one of those.
I'll
I
trade
need
you.
one of those in my life. Take my money.
I'll trade you this Yoda Pez dispenser.
So is that
Yoda
what's
Pez
his
dispenser.
Yoda Pez dispenser.
what's
And the
what's his
pencil
name
sharpener,
from
too.
Lost in Space? Is that what the
They were
robot in Lost in Space?
Space.
they're not the same robot, but they were designed by
Yeah.
the same guy. In fact, they do
Yeah.
fight each other in an episode
Yes.
of Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
No, I was gonna say like not the same one, but like was it influenced or whatever?
They were
So,
designed by
Very
the same guy.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Same guy made them. Yeah, or
Can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's a Japanese guy.
But yeah, that's Forbidden Planet's a great movie. You covered it very well in your retrospective review. It's just what I love about that movie is like the special effects for its time were like,
Breathtaking.
yeah, they were gorgeous. I mean, like the whole
Bareback.
Krell Underground, where I know it's all animated, but it's like they did such a good job on it with the shading and the sounds and the movements of things, and I just the whole thing, all the effects were either animated or practical in some way, and I mean, like the robot was it was a dude walking around in a giant suit. So,
Has to be so hot.
yeah, that must have been horrible for that actor. So
I like to think that in the movie where like the cook is like pouring the whiskey into him, I like to think that the actor in there is actually like drinking real whiskey.
Would 60 gallons be sufficient?
But I mean, like the spaceship itself was, 2 was just, you look at the design inside, and so many other movies or shows or concepts were bred, came out of that movie itself, like Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, it's like so much of it came from that,
the call letters for the ship in Forbidden Planet are actually you. Actually, you told me that. I'm sorry.
1701.
I knew I got that from somewhere.
It was like where they were landing, and he said something about 1701 or something.
Yeah, he says 1701. Yeah, and there's other things too. If you watch my video, I list a few, but there's even more than I listed.
Yeah, I'm literally pulling off some of the things you said in your video here. So
yeah, Roddenberry claimed it wasn't based on Forbidden Planet, but he's lying.
Yeah. I mean, even look at you look at the sets. I mean, the outside sets, the inside sets, the ships, everything about it. It's like, there's a whole lot in common with that movie.
And Leslie Nielsen as the leading man, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
He has a
So I
couple
kept
of
on waiting the whole time I was rewatching it. I kept on waiting for him to go, "There's nothing to see here."
Right.
Very impressive.
I know. For me, I know Leslie Nelson.
Shirley.
Yeah, right. For me, I know Leslie Nelson from The Naked Gun. So to see him for him to be a sci-fi actor for me, right, is a little like, wait, what? Right, but like. It's
actually, growing up, like I saw Forbidden Planet when I was really, really little because it was probably one of my dad's favorite sci-fi movies. And like for years, I did not connect that Leslie Nielsen from Forbidden Planet was the same Leslie Nielsen from like the Poseidon Adventure and the airplane movies. Yeah, there were two completely different people in my brain. Oh, and let's see, JHL, I think that is what that is. Finally finds a limit. I don't think Frankenstein's monster's a robot. I think that's pushing it maybe a little too far. He's a corpse. Yeah, he's more of a zombie than a robot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are we though? But brains, piloting meat mechs.
Robert Kinoshita. Thank you, Indy. And B9 is the one from Lost in Space. Yeah.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes, B9. Yeah.
Oh, and hi, my flock is here.
Sister Sarah. Now the Wolfman's a robot.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, Sean Ennis thinks that meat robot counts.
The free country.
Okay.
All right, then we're all meat.
Okay,
robots.
then we're okay. Like
I am a meat popsicle. All movies are robot movies.
all right, then my next movie is World War Z. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Ooh. Scott Strikes Back.
Like,
Oh,
all right. Sorry.
The time change. I always get silly during a time change.
I know, right?
yeah. Oh, it's horrible.
The fact that our bodies desire homeostasis and routines is such a frustrating thing.
We almost did away with it. We came so close.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it passed. Oh, I've been going this whole like.
Congress let it die.
And you know why? You know why they let it die? They couldn't agree which one to cancel. Just anyway, Scott.
Okay. All right. So the pain will continue, and the pain goes on. instead of the band plays on. All right,
The
so this one I
floggings
told
will
y'all.
continue until morale improves.
Right. So this one I told everybody before, and I want the audience to participate because this is more, my first one's gonna be a quiz. All right, because I'm gonna list the actors, and I want you to see if you can pick the movie that these actors are from. This has Orson Welles, Leonard Nimoy, Eric Idle, Judd Nelson, Robert Stack, Lionel Standard, John Machete, Casey Kasem, Scatman Carruthers, Roger Carmel, Clive Revell. Like,
It's the Transformers, isn't it?
it is. If no one could pick it up from that, I was gonna say Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, and Christopher Collins.
Actually,
but
keyed
yeah.
in as soon as you said Eric Idle. That's when I got it.
Yeah.
You're talking Transformers, the animated movie?
The animated movie
Yes.
from 1986, right?
Oh,
If
that's
It
on
will
my
be
list.
stupid.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank
I
you.
would have got it. If it was Ernest Borgnine, I would have gotten it.
Oh, I didn't realize that he was in that.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite character.
And Orson Welles.
Yeah. Like Orson Welles is the is Unicron, like the.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, it's and the beautiful thing, like Judd Nelson did his first BotCon that he attended and like showed up for like years later, right? Like never went to one of these. Like this was like it's relatively recently, and he did an interview and he was talking about Orson Welles, and Orson Welles comes in and he's like, "You will not direct me. I will read my lines and I will do, or whatever." And he was like setting the stage, like, no, you don't get to direct me. I direct me, kind of thing, or whatever. And I was like, you know what? That's what Orson Welles, like, just saying, like, my garden hose is bigger than is longer than your garden hose, and I'm just gonna lay it on the table, right? My pool noodle, right, and just like throw it out on the table, and just like, and but I think like with Orson Welles, he gets to do that. And so, I mean, he made by many the greatest movie ever made, or whatever, viewed by many, some
Well, the AFI, they count.
right. Yeah. And just so he gets to do that. But to me, like that movie, I just watched it this week just to catch up with it. It is, it's fun for what it is. It like exceptional cast. The writing, I mean, it's an 80s cartoon that they just kind of like put out there for money making. So it's sad that we can't like do it properly and like earnestly, but I still loved it. I really loved
The Bumblebee movie actually comes pretty close. It's way better than the other Transformers movies.
There's
I saw
there's
the
some
theaters back in '87. I want to say.
Yeah?
86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was '87.
Yeah.
But I saw it in the theaters.
Yeah, it's to me it's a really great movie, and again, one of the most, I have never wept. Well, I
Yeah.
take that back. It was the first time that I wept so hard because your hero dies.
It's right up there with a Neverending Story when the
Oh, yeah.
what was the horse's name again?
Like Atreyu or what was it?
Artax!
Yeah,
Artax,
Artax dies.
Artax,
When Artax
yes.
dies, yeah. Right up
Yeah.
there with Neverending Story.
Yeah, the 80s
Oh.
the 80s treated us different.
Yeah.
Yes, right?
They traumatized us on purpose.
Like
I
the
just
Transformers,
watched Island
they wanted to relaunch like all of their toys and change them all. So the movie just kills everybody.
Yeah, everyone
Right?
dies.
It does.
And you're like, what's going on?
Was that what they
All
did
of my
that?
heroes.
That's why they
Yes.
did it.
Yes.
I never knew that.
You had
that's
Rodimus
exactly
Prime. Like I was like,
Galvatron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, like
And
oh
then-
yeah, Galvatron like completely changed it. Like
Yeah. And then everybody
so-
was so upset about it, they had to bring back Optimus. What was it, like a year later? or
It was
something?
very
Yeah.
quickly. He did
Yeah.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I love I love Peter Cullen's description when he does this interview about like when he won this award. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Peter Cullen Award. He talks about like how he played Optimus, and like first off he based it off of
Robots
his brother.
in disguise.
Yeah, he based it off of his a brother who served in the war and everything. And his brother told him, like, a true hero is able to be vulnerable. And I think that's what truly, like, made him, like, so many kids second fathers, right? Second, like, kind of thing. And why it was so devastating whenever they did, like, when he did die in this, because, like, it was like losing, this hero, right? Even though it's a cartoon for kids. And it was like but again, the reason why that worked is because Peter Cullen is just the Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award. Like he is such a phenomenal actor in the way that he played that. Like, and I love that they've brought him back in the modern movies, because, like, they made it. It's built on them and it's honoring them to me. And so they deserve it. And Scatman Crothers, the fact that we don't have him anymore to do this, like, that upsets me so much, because he needs to be in everything and he's not here to do it. So
towards the end of his life, he did a lot of voice work. I don't know if he was ill, so he wasn't as active as he was when he was younger, but he was doing a lot of Saturday morning voice character work and stuff towards the end of his life. Yeah. One thing I loved, if I may indulge, one thing I loved about the Transformers movie when I saw it is, and it mentioned it in the cartoons, but they sort of downplay it because, again, it's for kids, so you don't really worry about things like plot contrivances. But one thing you see more in the movie is the fact it gives the Decepticons a third dimension.
Yeah, it does.
They're not these fascist expansionists. Their planet is dying. They're desperate to the point where they're fighting a civil war among their own people just so they can conquer Earth to keep themselves alive. It's very similar to Leader Dessler's character in Space Battle Cruiser Yamato, or even the humans in Avatar. They're not doing this because they like to inflict pain. It's either us or them, and face facts, it's going to be us. And while it doesn't excuse what they're doing, I thought it was nice that they weren't just simply a cardboard cutout villain like Saturday morning cartoons usually indulge themselves with.
Yeah.
No, and to me, it really, again, I always had to take it like that next level or whatever, but, like, we reflect on us, right, and our behavior, like, as human beings. Like, it's art, like how when we face obstacles and how much we bicker in the face of, like, real, like, obstacles, and dig our heels into things, like, and it can lead some of us to do not so, great things in the moment, right, and others to in this, battle, right, between desperation, right, and that we dig our heels in particular values, right, and so
interesting hypothetical.
Sounds like the Brotherhood of Man, like a Godzilla thing. Yeah.
but no, and I think we've seen that a few times in
absolutely
recently.
And one thing that shocked me. This is the last thing. The one thing that also shocked me that I forgot about was adult Spike, when, like, stuff is, like, going crazy, he drops an S-bomb. He's like, "Oh, S," right? And I was wait, what? And it's just one. Like, they just have one, but it's like, I was like, they had a cuss word in the 80s? Like, that's crazy. So anyways.
I think they wanted to give it a PG rating for the theater, so I think they did that on purpose.
Gotcha. Yeah, you just got to put one, and it's fitting. So, but yeah, that kind of, like, when I was watching it, I was like, wait, what? So anyways.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with another one where, like, you might not actually call it a robot, but I do. And that's Blade Runner.
Nice.
A movie I still haven't covered on this channel, but I will get to it eventually, I promise. The replicants in Blade Runner, specifically Roy Batty, they're portrayed as the villains. They're portrayed as, like, murderers and psychopaths, because they kind of are. But at the same time, it's only because they have such a limited lifespan. They're limited by their own hardware to only live for 5 years, right? And the way that figures into their, like, robot psychology is very interesting and very cool. And that scene where Batty confronts Terrell and like, I want more life, father, and I love that scene so much. There's so many layers to that scene. But I feel like Blade Runner is it's kind of subtle in how it portrays robots and robot psychology, because really you're following it more as a film noir. It's filmed like a film noir. It's shot like a film noir. It's formulated like a film noir. So like you don't really think too hard about it, but everything from like the Voight-Kampff test to Sean Young not knowing she's a replicant to is Harrison Ford's character a replicant or not, all these things are integral to what's going on, but it's all kind of under the surface, and I love that about this movie. It's one of the things that makes me want to go back to this movie over and over and over again. So yeah, I had to bring up Blade Runner. That's all.
Excellent.
Well,
I mean, it's a
that's
good
all.
one.
We could do it.
I mean, I could talk about Blade Runner for an hour. I'm just trying to keep it tight.
I can. The thing that always amazed me about Blade Runner, as you said, the replicants are portrayed as the villain. Just the very not very subtle. The subtext is, they're called skin jobs, and the females are used as sex workers, and
Right.
the males are used as soldiers or as workers
Laborers
in
or-
areas too dangerous for humans. It's
Yeah.
the essence of class struggle. They are the sub level of our society, and that they don't mind. They can live with that. What they hate is the fact that they're relegated to this incredibly short lifespan. It's like we wouldn't mind serving you for a longer period if you just give us a longer period. And that like actually always like kind of hit me right here. It's like, wow. It's like the line in Johnny Got His Gun where he's like, I'll live in a cave as a miner for the rest of my life eating a handful of gravel if you just let me live a little longer.
Yeah.
And it just I thought that's something that it falls through the cracks, but if you watch for it, it's like, well, because we're way too busy like focusing on Harrison Ford, and he is an amazing character. But it's like if you could just look at the other side a little bit deeper, you'd be like, wow.
And like Roy Batty's speech at the end, the Shoulder of Orion speech, the reason that is the reason the reason that speech is so powerful is because up until that point, like, you're right, it's like a class thing that replicants aren't human, you can disregard them. But that speech is Roy Batty saying, no, I have experienced things you'll never experience. Like, my life has value that you don't appreciate, that kind of thing. That speech is amazing. Yeah. And he kind of wrote half of it on his own. Like the actor, Rutger Hauer, he wrote part of it on his own and just started saying it on camera before showing anybody what he had written. So like, that was cool. That's cool to know. That's like cool behind the scenes stuff. But that speech makes the movie for me. So good.
Oh, and was it John Leguizamo who said, it's a pity she won't live long, but then who of us does?
It's not John Leguizamo. It's Adama. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but yeah, Adama.
You're right. I don't know where that even came from.
It's not Luigi.
I am so embarrassed. You're right. It's not. It's what is his name now? It's going to drive me nuts.
Edward James Olmos. It came to me.
It is. John Leguizamo, you're great, but you were not in Blade Runner. I apologize.
I think he was probably like 10 when Blade Runner came out. So.
Sorry.
But a very older looking 10, okay? It's very understandable because he was a very older looking 10.
Oh, Sean Ennis says he actually worked with him. That's cool.
Oh,
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
When people ask me how my mind works, I go picture an auditorium and someone goes to the speaker and asks a question and 300 people all shout out a different answer. Every now and then the wrong one gets to the podium. One at a time, guys. One at a time.
I know how you feel.
Thank you. Thank you. An empathy test.
Okay, so Thrash, it's your turn.
Well, speaking of tear-jerking 80s, well, I'll just, as we were just discussing, I'm going to actually pick Vincent and Bob from The Black Hole.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in years.
They are amazing. And again, they're not robots. Well, I mean, they are robots.
They're robots, but yeah.
They are robots, but they're not this I am a robot, I am a robot. No, they're like characters. They like have inflection, they have personality. They're cooler than most of the human characters in one way or another. And again,
make noble sacrifices.
and again, here we go back to Transformers. I went in preparation to this chat we're having. I went and I rewatched that scene of Bob's death, and when he says "keep the order alive," I'm sorry, I'm such a boob. Keep the order alive. We're the best, and then I cried when I saw that as a 12-year-old. I didn't cry when I saw it as a 56-year-old, but as you can see, it certainly struck a chord in my heart.
It's just because of his name Bob, isn't it?
That was part of it. And it's Slim Pickens. How can anyone not empathize with Slim Pickens? And of course, Vincent was Roddy McDowell, who is, and people don't stop and think of him as a sci-fi icon. And I go,
he is,
how
absolutely.
Think of him as a sci-fi icon.
He's been in more Planet of the Apes movies than Andy Serkis.
And that's the tip of the iceberg. Sci-fi television, the
Twilight Zone. He's in a great couple episodes of Twilight Zone.
He was. Yeah. He was in. Was it that the Fantastic Island or something? Very
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is science fiction. Well, sci-fi horror too, because you got to throw in Night Flight. Peter Vincent, vampire killer, and I think again I said Night Flight, Fright Night, not Night Flight. That's 2, Bob. You only get 3. Oh, and not to give a game away. And I was actually talking with somebody else about this. Star, the former head of the security in Black Hole, when he bounced by Maximilian, is Star a nod to the Yul Brynner robot in Westworld? Any takers?
I can see it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know that they were only like 5-6 years apart at most. Because Black Hole came out in 79. I think Westworld came out in 73. So yeah.
Yeah, I loved that movie as a kid. The two floating robots, Bob and Vincent, are just like, they're great. They really were great.
I'm pretty sure I had little toys of them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them. I wish I still had them. It'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll just have to settle for my Robbie.
Yeah.
A train's on the table. Here, I'll throw in Chewbacca too. I'll just keep grabbing stuff off my desk, for you.
I have an original Grimlock around here somewhere. But
Me, Grimlock.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's your turn, Damian.
Oh, that's right.
Grimlock.
Okay, I'm going to go a little more modern here. Last is 2014, Ex Machina.
Ooh,
Ex Machina,
very good
however you want to
choice.
pronounce that. Ex Machina is how I would personally.
I freaking love that movie.
It's the effects are really good, and that's nice. But really the thing that stands out about that movie is just it's chilling. When you really think about it, how cold and calculated she is in the end, and how like she has almost no actual empathy, towards the characters, or at least the main character, Caleb, and in his plight, he's just trapped, and she doesn't care. But the whole thing is, the whole time she really was playing him. She was playing them all, just so that she could get out. And that whole concept that she, did it so well.
No, that's one of the things I love about that movie, is because in most sci-fi that deals with robots trying to be human, or androids that are trying to pass as human, is that they struggle to figure out emotions, and the Data positronic man type syndrome. Whereas in this movie, it's more of, we're way past the Turing test. That gets taken care of in the first 10 minutes of the movie. But this robot understands human psychology and understands emotions so well. She's playing them from the very beginning, and you can't tell because it's so advanced. And that's truly scary. That is some scary stuff.
and it kind of shows like the scary, but the dangers of a true AI that can do those types of things, because it's like ultimately it's going for whatever its goal is what it's, it doesn't care about anybody or anything. It has a goal. It's going to achieve its goal.
Right.
And that's all that it sees. And it's going to do whatever it takes, whether that be manipulate the crap out of everybody or, kill them in the end, to achieve it. So, I mean, you could say that parallels to humanity, because quite often people are the same way. But, there's, it's kind of like, ultimately she's and Scott, correct me here, sociopath or psychopath? Sociopath. Okay. So ultimately she's a sociopath.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the whole time I kind of anticipated that was what was going to happen, but, I still enjoyed it. I mean,
yeah, I feel like visually
out.
and tonally, the movie grabs you, even if you know where it's going, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're
and
stuck in this underground layer.
And Oscar Isaac is totally nuts,
Yes.
and he's
Yes,
great
he
in that
is.
movie. He's doing that dance scene.
Yeah.
I love
geez.
that.
And he's like drunk the whole damn time. It's like- oh man. Anyway, all right.
And
so
Alicia
anybody else?
Vikander, oh my god,
Yeah.
she's so good in that.
Yeah, she is.
In all honesty and candor, best I can know on such short notice. Sorry.
No,
Okay, Scott,
I was gonna say, like, that movie just left my wife and I just kind of like,
that's a jaw dropper.
yeah, like you're just like, oh my god.
And in the end, she's just people watching in a street or on a, in a crowded
Yeah,
area.
she's
It's
just
like,
loose out in the world.
Yeah.
Hooray!
So
What's she gonna do next?
I have to go with one that has so many layers of meaning and yet is such a phenomenal, well done movie, and that's The Iron Giant.
Yes.
Am
Like,
I
just-
a gun?
Yeah, one of the most powerful, like,
Beautiful movie. Yeah.
yeah, because it really is like one of those like concepts of when we look at, again, like what we could be versus what we tend to be as a species, and like we have such amazing capability of beauty and creation, and yet also, but so often it's led by our destructive tendencies, right? And which oftentimes is led by fear, right? Our fear leads us to be destructive and rather than being able to, rather than like mental security and more secure ego strengths. And so it really is just such a deep and powerful movie to me. Like it's phenomenal. It's one of those, like, as a kid, like, you enjoy it, and then the more that you watch it and you watch it and you watch it, it just shows like who we could be, right? And again, striving to be Superman, right?
Superman.
Yeah.
Yes, no, that film really does work. I remember I was working at the video store, and I put it on. We used to do in-store plays, of course, and I put that one on. It was like a big seller at the time, and I was trying to like, appeal to like, kids. Hey, mommy, can I buy that now? Can I buy that now? And I put that on. And I watched it, and I go, this is a surprisingly good movie. I thought it would be like some little kid fluff piece, but no, it was not. I love the fact
It's
that it was
very
an homage.
earnest. Yeah.
It was. I mean, they really put some heart into it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a number of years, so I don't remember all of the ins and outs, but I just remember there was a very good, very touching, boy and his giant robot movie. But
And it's
one of those actually.
it's Vin Diesel, who, like, as much as I like Riddick and all, but I feel like Vin Diesel is always better as a voice actor.
Wait, you don't care about like Family Man? Come on.
I like those movies, but I would never once call a Fast and Furious movie a good movie. I just enjoy them for what they are.
Guilty pleasure.
Lay on the couch. It's raining. There's nothing else to do. You're bored. Why not? Put
And
it
yes,
on?
of course, I am Groot.
Right.
I am Groot.
Canonically, his name is Tree because Thor speaks Groot's language, and Thor calls him Tree.
And the trees are robots too, by the way.
Oh, of course, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everything is a robot.
Everything's a robot. Everything's a robot. I gotta.
Eric. Let's not bring up trees around me, please.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Leave that one alone.
Sorry, well, this is the dendrophilia thing again.
You'll have to listen to From Here to Paternity.
I am not explaining that on this stream.
We're not going to talk about that, but I'm just asking.
I thought it was an M. Night Shyamalan reference.
Okay, I've got a lot of options here, but I'm going to go with another tear-jerking robot, and that is Bicentennial Man.
Oh, yeah, it's on my list. Yeah.
Again, one of the ones I didn't bother to put on because I knew someone.
Yeah, Robin Williams and Isaac Asimov. Why wouldn't I love the hell out of this? It takes Isaac Asimov's story and really expands it emotionally, because Isaac Asimov, fantastic writer, one of my favorites. I've got like almost everything he's ever written. He's not that good at characters, like really emotional characters, outside of our Daniel Oliva, who is another robot who has never appeared in a movie. Damn it. But Bicentennial Man, Robin Williams brings so much. I hate to say it because it sounds cliche, but he brings so much heart to that character of the Bicentennial Man, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head. But like, God, it's so good.
What was his name?
And this is like the prototype Asimov android. The one who's got
Martin.
the Martin.
Yeah, Andrew.
Thank
Yes,
you.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has the 3 laws, but at the same time he's trying to be human. He wants to transform into a human. That's the movie, is just him charting his course through life, becoming more and more human until in the end he dies a human. It's so good. Oh god, it's one of my favorite robot movies of all time. So I had to bring it up.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
It's an amazing movie, and Robin Williams. I can't say the man can do no wrong because he's actually made a couple of really terrible movies, but Bicentennial Man is not one of them. And when he is on point, when he's in something that works for him, he is absolutely amazing. He's a national treasure. He was a national treasure and will remain so in absentia. R.I.P. Mr. Williams. But yes, no, like I said, I didn't even bother to put that one on my list because I know someone else is going to mention it.
I liked when he met.
I will take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Please.
When he met Rupert for the first time, and he's got that other robot that's like super bubbly, and and Andrew's like, "Can we turn her off?" kind of thing. Just get so sick of her so quick. Oh yeah, that was a great movie. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the speeches when he's like in front of Congress or
Congress, yeah. When he's like trying to explain his humanity.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And the fact that they like the Martin family like continues to like he like starts out there and then goes out on his own and still runs into the daughter, and then it's the granddaughter or whatever later on, and
right,
yeah. Oh yeah, just the whole circle that goes on there.
And that's one of those movies where I can like feel the tears welling up before it actually gets to that point. Like I already feel sad before the movie even like punches you with sad.
Yep.
You're gearing up to be sad.
Exactly. It's anticipatory sadness.
Yeah.
I more than understand.
Oh, and they both die together in the end or whatever.
Yeah, they die together. Yeah.
Anyway.
Spoiler alert.
God, I'm gonna have to watch
Spoiler
that
alert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry. If you
I already
haven't seen
said he
that movie,
died,
where have
so.
you been? It's 25
really.
years old.
I've come to the realization: if you're watching our podcast, you're going to have to know the movies that we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
Just so.
And if you're on my channel, I don't give you spoiler warnings. I just spoil things. Okay, that was me. So it's your turn, Paresh.
Ah, cool. And I decided I'm going to dig deep again. I love digging deep. It's
Yes,
so much
I
fun.
love that you do.
Thank you. And I love that you love that I love it. I stop that there. Now, I decided to go with the humanoids from the creation of the humanoids. And, well, wait for applause. This actually, this movie is probably best known. This was actually Andy Warhol's favorite movie, and this movie is terrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's set. It's a post-apocalyptic film, and what happened is humans are rendered sterilized. So what they do is to try to make their losses good. They create robots, and each generation of robot gets a little closer and closer to human, to the point where the uncanny valley kicks in, and you have this sort of institutionalized robophobia, to the point where, and it's funny because you get a sort of. But before I go on, has anyone seen this film?
I have not.
I'm
No.
not sorry.
No. I'm trying to look it up. I keeps coming up with Humanoids from the Deep, which we discussed.
It's a different movie. Yeah.
You get a sort of a nod to class relations, where there's this fascist order that emerges, and they call themselves the Order of Flesh and Blood, and their sole purpose of being is to try to keep the robots as a lower strata. And if you watch the movie uncut, it's hard to, because this movie usually ended up on late night movie channels where they hacked it to bits to make room for more commercials. But there's some really good subplots. I can't help but think that the script it was based on was actually pretty good, because it talks about some social impacts that would almost be invariable in this type of society. One of them that they do leave in is this guy. The main character is an asshole. He's one of the fascists, but pardon my language, his sister is in rapport. And in rapport is a term they use where the latest generation of robots, they're so advanced that people can actually cohabitate with them. But it's considered a very taboo matter. And so you have this whole dynamic that he's out to put the robots in their place, and she actually has a romantic relationship with a robot. And well, the reason the robots are so cool is the entire budget of this movie went into the robots. That it's the typical thing where you have the plastic face masks and the weird sort of reflective eyes. But again, they play them very close to the chest. The actors who play the robots, are they the downtrodden who are just trying to raise their station? Are they secretly trying to take over the earth? It's left ambiguous. The costumes. The Order of Flesh and Blood, it looks like they cobbled together some pieces from an old Civil War film, Confederate uniform pieces. The police, they wear what look like kids' fireman costumes. The movie is like a laugh riot, but it has an amazing twist ending, which, in all fairness, I can't give away. And I won't, because none of you guys have seen it.
Yeah, please don't.
But again, if you can get through this movie, it has a really, really cool twist ending. But the fact that it was Andy Warhol's favorite movie, I had to include it in my list.
Is the twist ending as good as the one in Rats?
No.
Okay.
In the fact that you will probably figure it out more likely than the one in Rats. The only reason I figured out the twist. Have you guys seen Rats, by the way? Night of Terror. Anyone?
No,
Obviously, I have.
Well, you have, yeah. Did you see it on my recommendation or independently?
I saw it independently. I'd seen it years ago.
You were supposed to say by my recommendation. Damn you!
I saw the movie Worms. If you've never seen that,
You mean
That
Squirm?
I have not.
or is it Squirm? I
Squirm.
thought it was
The
Worm.
one that takes place in the deep south, and they're using electrical cables to bring the worms to the surface.
Yeah.
That's Squirm.
Squirm. Sorry.
Squirm,
Okay, it's been
Squirm.
so long since I saw that. I was
I have
babysitter when I was in second grade, rented it, and we watched it. I didn't want to play in the dirt for quite some time.
The worms that are scared. It ends up the kid's egg frame too, by the way, which really kind of freaked me out. But no, Andre Norton's Daybreak 2250 kind of gave the game away for me when I watched it. But you guys probably haven't read that either. So
Is Rats like the one from 1982 with Scatman Jones in it and stuff?
No.
no, it's an Italian post-apocalyptic giallo, and it's a
Scourge
little
of
on the
Rats,
formula
yeah.
side, but it's
When-
good.
when was it?
85, I want to say.
85.
It was the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually, the whole title is Rat's Night of Terror, at least in English.
Ah, okay, I gotcha. Okay,
And it's
cool.
Bruno
I'm just trying to find it.
Mattei. Bruno Mattei directed it. I just
It's
did
a-
a thing on that. If you guys watch my channel content, you would have known that.
It's an Italian exploitation movie, and it really feels like one. It's great. I love it. I mean, it's
It really
terrible,
does.
but I still love it.
I love it.
And it has one of the best twist endings in all of cinema, hands down.
And let's face it, 80s Italian post-apocalyptic films were just so much fun.
Yes, I agree.
And it has
I'm
Greta
just
Gerwig.
adding it as an aside at the end of this list. So I'm gonna
Okay,
put
yeah,
all
very
the-
important.
yeah.
Yes, so it'll be in the list in the description.
And of course, Indy knew the exact year.
Yes, because Indy is our
fact checker.
he's our encyclopedia. Yeah.
I look at Indy and I go, "Wow, how do you know all this stuff?"
Okay, so Damian, your turn.
All right, what to choose? There's so many good ones, but I'm gonna go with Real Steel just because I get to say this.
good one.
Rock'em Sock'em
Rock'em
Robots,
Sock'em
the
Robots,
movie.
the movie. Yeah.
I mean, there were some good effects in there too, and it was an okay story, but it was just like the whole idea of, yeah, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, basically. Yeah, so
No.
2020 human boxing is replaced with robot boxing. Of course, that didn't happen. But yeah, and that's the premise.
As
And,
far as we know.
yeah, as far good point.
I always thought it being loosely adapted from that Twilight Zone episode with Lee Marvin.
I can see that kind of. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a decent movie. You know, it got a little, little bit of human,
Hugh Jackman's
dad-
pretty good
yeah,
in it.
Yeah, and dad connecting with his son that he's never, been with, kind of thing. So you got that going on, and a little bit of I think wasn't there like a little bit of a love story in there somewhere too? I can't.
I
remember.
think
It's
so. I
been a
haven't seen
while.
it since it came out in theaters.
And
So-
like overcoming your whatever his setback was, where he lost all his money and blah blah blah, and becoming
Wow.
a champion again. It's
the
just one of
cast
those.
is way better than I remembered.
Yeah, it's just yeah. Oh, it's got a good cast.
It's got Anthony Mackie, Kevin Durant, Evangeline Lilly. It's
Yep.
awesome. In addition to, of course, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, so decent movie. I'd recommend it for anybody that likes a good action robot movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it since it came out, but I remember really liking it. And I
Yeah.
think we bought a DVD, like when all the blockbusters were going down, we bought
yeah,
like tons and tons of DVDs. So I've got a bunch of DVDs I've never watched, and I think that's one of them.
I have an old reach-in cooler that is full of DVDs because it broke. And
Right.
in my house, when something if a refrigerator breaks, it becomes a storage cabinet.
Radiation proof storage cabinet, even.
Oh, okay. Thrash. Looking it up. It is based on a story by Richard Matheson called Steel, which was also the basis for that Twilight Zone episode. So you are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Nothing but that.
That's awesome.
Well,
And yeah.
I love that episode of Twilight Zone.
You put Richard Matheson in, and you got like 10 bonus points right there.
Love Richard Matheson.
One of my
I
favorites.
was gonna bring up The Day the Earth Stood Still, but I had to throw in kind of a
Yeah, we can't do all the
action.
AAA
Yeah.
titles in this
Yeah.
first episode.
Yeah,
We've
we
got,
got other episodes.
probably
Saving-
3 of these.
saving
Oh.
some for later here. But Johnny 5 should come up
Save it for
before
later.
friggin' Rock'em Sock'em Robots here, but
It came up in the chat. It's fine.
yeah.
We could
There
do a
are
whole,
more picks to come.
We could do a whole post from suggestions our fans make in the
Yeah,
comment
oh no,
section.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I always try to go through, like last time I didn't have enough time between last week and this week, but I always try to go through and add the viewer comments and stuff.
And it's kind of good because we hit the character limit on my descriptions, which I didn't even know was a thing.
YouTube's getting honorary.
I know. Well, it always has been a little ornery. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's a safe word.
I'm coming up with an Orwellian vocab to get by all the words you can't say on YouTube. By the way, my new favorite. By the way, not to like make light of a very dodgy subject, but Judas option.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you can't say what the Judas option actually
Right, yep.
was, but we all know what we're talking about. So, hey, big brother. There you go.
Okay, Scott. Oh, wait. My friend John is here. Hello, John, channel member and Patreon. Okay, Scott, your turn.
All right. So my wife, in preparation
Is a robot?
for this, yes, actually she is, and that's how she's so amazing.
That could be fun. I don't know.
She's a robot building rockets, and
Different wise.
to take over the world. But no, like she had brought up that one of her favorite things was Small World, the TV show from the 80s. But I was like,
Small Wonder, you mean?
Or Small Wonder, I'm sorry. Small Wonder from the 80s. Wonderful TV show. And I was like, oh, I would love to, but I can't. It's not a movie. It's a TV show. We got to talk about movies. So I remembered, I was like, wasn't there a Small Wonder type movie? That I watched a long time ago. And I was like, and she goes, wait, do you mean like Bastion from Neverwinter, Never Ending Story? And I was like, yes, D.A.R.Y.L, the wonderful D.A.R.Y.L. Yes, there it is.
This is actually going to be a very upcoming review on this.
Is it really? Oh,
yeah, that's
great.
why it was on top of my pile.
Awesome. So, hey, make sure that you update the review, because I put somebody else's movie review.
No, that's fine.
But when you put it out, yeah. Like, I always try to put yours in there. But like, yeah, no, it's a young boy who is wearing an ascot, gets lost in the wood. Yes. Data analyzing robotic. Oh,
I'm waiting for you to catch up to it. It's excellent.
Nice. But like, so it's a wonderful story about a young boy who gets kidnapped and is wearing an ascot and a blazer, dropped in the woods, and
the 80s.
Then again kidnapped by some Appalachian Hill people, and goes from wearing a blazer, khakis, and an ascot to like country clothes, and then is brought into a human trafficking circle, or as I like to, as I like to call it, or others call it, the government like orphanage. And so, no, I'm just kidding.
I almost spit grape drink into my camera. Literally. Spit take.
No, but like, and then he gets adopted out to a wonderful family. I think, oh god, the actor, I think it's Richard Mole, but I know I'm sure I messed that up.
Charlton Heston in the Omega Man is also not a robot.
Thank you for playing with some lovely parting gifts. But Wolverine is a robot.
No, Michael McKean, not Richard Mole. Michael McKean. Sorry. Yeah, like and
Indy beat you to it by that much.
Yes, thank you, Indy. I knew he was going to. But Michael McKean and Mary Beth Hurt are such wonderful family. And again, the thing that I really love about it is that it's, he's a I guess government, maybe private industry robot. That's not clearly stated, I think, but I think he's a government robot. Yes, he is a government robot built for war. A child built for war. That's an odd thing, but nonetheless,
Ender's Game.
Yeah, I know, right? And so
Good call.
He gets adopted out, and then because the government finds him, like this adoptive parents have to give up their child. And to me, like that really gets into this, like,
Remember
even
this
deeper
movie now. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
It's
even
been
deeper.
years. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
It's a deep cut as far as our childhood. But like
Yeah.
it really like gets into that deeper kind of concept of adoption, and when a biological parent takes the gets custody back from the adopted parents, and that emotional like distraughtness that it causes, like the friends that he builds, and he has this wonderful best friend who is just like, to me, just one of the best like actors in the movie, and that kid's loss of his friend now, right, and just how bigger and deeper this concept goes, and this fight to return home, right, and again, also, as all of these are going to bring out, what is a human, and do we have the right, Joe brings up in our From Here to Paternity like stream often, like the concept of, do we own our children, or are we just simply temporary guardians of them as they, develop their own, identity and self, right? And I think all of these movies.
I own my children. They're my little slaves. They do.
Yeah. I remind my son often that he's a slave.
Right. And so it gets into that concept of what are our rights when we're developing AI, like to do this, to kind of play God, right? And to when we're
Captain Picard settled that argument.
Yeah.
Okay. And so anyways,
I think it really was Tasha that settled that with the.
That deserves an applaud. But anyways,
Thank you. We'll be here all week.
It's one of those great movies that again, I think all of these things kind of touch on.
No, D.A.R.Y.L is fantastic, and if you really want all my thoughts on it, just wait about 3 weeks. But unfortunately, because it's a movie that heavily features children, the comments will probably be disabled by YouTube, because as Thrash said, YouTube is ornery.
Up in the even.
Yeah. So I think we have time for one more round. So I know Thrash is going to have to get going pretty soon.
What I'll do is I'll have to split after I give my next one. Sorry, Damian.
Yeah.
But I'll watch the replay.
Do you want to let Thrash go?
First? Yeah, you want to go first? Go ahead.
Go first.
Would you mind?
No, not at all. Go for it.
All right, let me just pick a cool one here real quick. I got a bunch of
Here, I'll even put you over here. There you go.
Hey.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go with, from Silent Running, I'm gonna go with Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Dang, got it off my list.
Oh.
Good one. Yeah.
You shouldn't have let me go next. Yeah. I think they're great. I mean, yes, they're mechanical automatons, but they're mischievous. The scene where he's teaching them how to play cards, and they cheat because they can actually use sounds to communicate that
right,
they
yeah.
can hear. That whole thing I thought was just that whole scene was adorable. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. And the scene at the end, and I don't know if it's because we had learned to actually empathize for these robots, or just because Bruce Dern was such a great actor. But that final speech at the end where he's telling him to, like, you have to keep going, and it's something you're expecting to say something really, really profound. He goes, things haven't really worked out for me. Which,
I love that.
As a kid, because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that says it all. You don't have to give a win-win for the Gipper speech. Things haven't worked out. You had to carry on without me. But he's playing this off a robot, and I think that maybe Tom Hanks actually drew upon that with that Wilson scene in Castaway.
Absolutely.
He's playing it off of volleyball, and yet we're getting real emotion here, you know? And so I just think I think the robots from Silent Running were just it's a sleeper hit from the early 70s, and yet those robots themselves have stayed with me all these years.
Mm-hmm.
No, and even though like he was acting to just a robot, but there were actually actors in those suits. Yeah. But like they were missing limbs and such, so they could fit in and look unnatural. Like that was the whole point. Like, which I think is really cool. And these are, of course, I can't mention these droids without mentioning that these were the inspiration for R2D2 and all the droids in Star Wars. You have to say that, yada yada yada. But no, Silent Running has always been one of my favorite 70s sci-fi movies, and there's a lot of great 70s sci-fi movies, but Silent Running just always seems to spring to the top of my brain whenever I think of them. Even though Joan Baez is cringy, I still love it.
And the sun isn't good for you, so don't have the children play in the sun. You know?
And thank you, Tristan. As always, I have to play this for you, if I can find it. Show this. I wish I could play more than that, but copyright. Cyborg. I haven't seen it since college, and I did a lot of things in college that kind of affected my memory. And I'm not
Didn't
sure.
we all?
Yeah. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention Inframan. I did a video on it with you. So yeah, thanks again, Tristan. I knew you'd come through eventually. It's awesome. So yeah, okay, Silent Running. Anybody else have anything else to say about Silent Running?
I always thought it was a good movie. It's been years since I've seen it, but the whole concept behind it is kind of a little bit silly. But forests and bubbles in space, out by Saturn or whatever. It's like
I can always get behind conservationism, and that's kind of what Bruce Dern is, like the sole voice of conservationism left in this future.
Conservationism, but it's like, why would it be out by Saturn?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the sun is so dim out there. Anyway.
The actual reason is because Douglas Trumbull, who made the movie, had done a whole bunch of work to make Saturn on film for 2001 and wasn't able to use it because then Stanley Kubrick decided to change the setting to Jupiter, which was a lot easier to make. So he's like, I have to set it around Saturn because I have Saturn.
Hey,
Totally
gotta save money.
Is that why in The Incredible Melting Man, for some reason, the astronaut is going to Saturn?
Probably, yeah. Could be.
I mean, I always loved Saturn. It's a great planet, but why would you go there? It's like,
And it's a lot of
see here.
It's a lot of astronomers' favorite planet. It's really beautiful, and so
the jewel of
and
the
the
solar
rings
system.
That's
and
right.
the moons.
That's right.
But it's a
That's
gas
right.
giant. There's nothing to colonize. Mars is a better choice, but
Yeah, some of the moons might, what is it? One of them around Saturn has something interesting about it.
I can never remember which moons are Saturn and which ones are Jupiter. So.
Yeah, there's so many of them. Yeah.
some are Neptune. There's one. It's totally cased in ice, but they think that there might be volcanic activity at the surface.
Europa.
No, Europa. That's
Europa's Jupiter.
Yeah, Europa's Jupiter.
Yeah. I know that from 2063 and from Paradox.
And they think that there might be life there.
Is it Ganymede? Is the one that's
Ganymede might be, or Enceladus, one of those.
One of those, yeah. So anyway,
I used to know them all, believe it or not. Of course, there's more moons around Saturn now. When I was a kid, they told us there was 9. I think they're saying there's like 27 now.
Yeah, they keep finding more.
Yeah.
But guys, on that note, I got a motor. I've had so much fun today. I'll watch the rest of the replay, so I'll know what not to mention for part 2.
Right.
All right. Awesome.
I'll message you the list that we have.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
For anyone in the comment section or any of you guys, when you guys are done here, if anyone wants to hop on the entertainment headquarters and listen to what we have to say about them, please do. But
you have to make sure to mention that it's basically what Aliens is based on.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you don't know that, I guess you can't talk about it. But like, if you watch Aliens immediately after watching them, you'll see that they're basically the same movie.
I'm gonna let you do it in my head. I know Alien was it from another planet.
It from
outer space. It's
something like that. Yeah.
Something or other. But Aliens.
Aliens takes a lot from them. Like
I'm gonna. They both
the military men in the caves with the flamethrowers and all that. Yeah.
Little girl who screams a lot.
Little girl screaming a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yep.
I love it. I'm gonna work that into the conversation. But until then, peace.
Yep. Asta. But we're still here. We're not going anywhere.
There were 3.
I want to ask Tristan a quick question. Tristan,
hold on. I gotta give
yeah.
Tracy a thanks. I do have another one.
3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Love
Such a
it.
great movie. I watched that with my girls. And
Thanks,
they
thank
loved
you, Tracy.
it. Yeah, Tracy's awesome. I try to like.
She is.
Yes.
Well, like when I'm trying to find links, I always try to find links to like, you know, Tracy and Retro Nerd Girl and like just like people that like from the community. So that's why, like, hey, Tristan, let me know if you did a review on either of those movies that you mentioned, Inframan and Cyborg.
Well, he's in my review of Inframan on this channel.
Oh,
But I don't know if he's actually covered it himself on his. I think he did actually. Maybe he did. I don't know.
all right. Well, I'm gonna put I'll put yours, but yeah, I just like to try and make sure like when I put the like movie reviews that I put like the community people
Yeah.
in there. So, anyways, okay, sorry. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so now it is my turn. Oh, and hi, Jeffrey Moore. Hello. We mentioned Westworld, but we haven't really talked about it in depth. I'm not going to bring it up yet. It's on my list. We'll talk about it next time.
I know, right?
For my last one, since Thrash is gone, I'm going to bring up iRobot.
Yeah.
Once again with the Asimov. I love iRobot, and I don't like to argue with people who don't. Because I think it's a great movie. I think Will Smith nails it. He is really, really good. And the fact that he's the robot racist and it's Will Smith, I mean, that's pretty awesome, you know?
And he's kind of a cyborg because he's had that whole arm and shoulder replacement.
Yeah, exactly. He does. Yeah. I like that it brings up that little that questioning, like, can a robot really value human life the same way a human can? Which is very that's very Asimov. I feel like that movie respected Asimov a lot. It gets a lot of flack from fans of Asimov who think that because it's not based on any individual story, that it's not true to Asimov, and I completely disagree. I think it is structured like an Asimov story. It is a mystery. It's a murder mystery even, and
As
it
many
all
of his
comes
stories are. Yeah.
it all comes down to a robot reinterpreting the three laws in a way that was not intended. I mean, it's very, very Asimov. Yeah, sure, it's a silly action movie, and it devolves into, CGI bloat at the end, but I still love it. I think it's great. And Alan Tudyk, who plays Sonny the robot, absolutely fabulous. He is one of my favorite robots in all of movies, and that is the main reason I bring it up.
I think the whole the visuals in that movie are astounding. Like, just the whole universe or the whole world, basically the way that the cars drive, all of that stuff. All the little all of that
the
stuff
spherical tires. It was really cool.
And just like the things like the cars, you can either have auto drive or manual and stuff like that. It's just some of the little details in there are just like, this is just awesome. It's a good movie.
That's all. And I thought that Bridget Monahan, I think that's who she is, who plays Sarah Calvin, does a really good job of Sarah Calvin, the one character who actually is from the books, who's, she doesn't really, she's very neuroatypical. Like, she doesn't really get along with other people very well. She doesn't understand people as well as she understands robots. And I feel like she got that character right. Yeah, there's a little bit of a love story between her and Will Smith that doesn't quite work, but it's Hollywood. You have to do that. I'm willing to forgive that.
I love that part where they're on the motorcycle. She's like, "Is this a gas engine? Gas explodes or something like that."
Yes. And yes, Wim Wenders. It was directed by Alex Proyas, who used to be one of my favorite directors until he just descended into madness with Knowing and Gods of Egypt. And, I don't know. Like, he's still out there. He's like a really nice guy though, and he has his own YouTube channel, and you can actually interact with him, and I have. So, if you like Alex Proyas movies, if you like The Crow and you like iRobot and you like Dark City, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, you can definitely talk to him about it. So, there's
Shut
that.
it down.
Shut it down forever.
Oh.
But yeah, iRobot. Good movie, highly recommend it. And you know me, I'm a hardcore Asimov fan, as I already mentioned before. But I think it does it does him justice, absolutely. I also like the Foundation TV series. So among other Asimov fans, I'm like a weirdo. So okay, Scott, your turn.
All right. So in the
Sorry, Damian, you got reordered.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. Doesn't matter.
So in the likeness of Ex Machina, there is a movie that I absolutely love. It is a newer movie, and it's Archive. Like,
I have not seen that.
Oh, I am not giving any spoilers away, but it is. You have a robotics engineer who has because of his obsession with work, has a distancing with his significant other, and immerses himself in his development of robots. And he is isolated and trying to truly develop like actual, like full AI where it's like not different from a person. And some of the issues of like projection and displacement and all of these psychological constructs are built in this isolation. It is, and it has so many twists and turns of what is going on that it is I'm trying to be really, really vague with it because I want y'all to watch this and enjoy the ride because it is a excellent movie. It's on Amazon Prime if you have that. Otherwise, you can rent it or purchase it. It is phenomenal and absolutely worth the time to watch that movie. It is. I cannot tout it enough. It is. It was the one that I put on top. It moved me emotionally. Like it hit me. Like it was great. And so.
And it's called Archive.
Yes, Archive.
Indie. This was almost gonna end up on my list. It was in the to watch section. I haven't got to it yet. So
yeah. No.
So it looked like it would be really good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 2 weeks that we have until the next time, like absolutely
I'll
watch
it.
Yeah. I would love for y'all to watch it and give your thoughts about it because I like it's one of those that will like just absolutely mess you up.
It's completely different, but I also recommend Archive 81, which is on Netflix, which is a horror series.
Okay.
Completely different, but I do recommend it.
But
it's very
just
cool.
looking at the synopsis here on Wikipedia, without reading the whole thing, just skimming it real quick. Yeah, that looks interesting. So I'm gonna have to.
I will definitely look into it. Yes.
Yeah. And in fact, audience, if you have Amazon Prime, watch it in 2 weeks, and especially Indy, if you haven't seen this one yet, like
Indy has seen absolutely everything.
I know, right? And then and Vim too, like Vim, but like all of y'all, like, oh, he's seen that series, but like check out Archive on if you have Amazon Prime, and let me know if it was one that that y'all like, and don't try to guess like where it's going, just write it, because like to me, like when we get into this like thinking about the movie and like trying to spoil it for ourselves, like
yeah, sometimes when you watch a movie and you know that there's gonna be a twist, it kind of ruins the experience because you're always like looking for it, waiting for it. It's one of the reasons like M. Night Shyamalan movies after a while just stop being fun because you're just waiting for the moment where it's gonna go crazy.
You're not even. Well, the problem is you're not even waiting for the moment. You're emotionally disconnected because
totally.
You
don't get the suture because you're thinking about it. Yeah,
exactly. You're in your own head rather than in the movie. So just invest in the movie and let it be. Write it, man.
I have seen Steel Magnolias.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh my goodness. See, I'm like, we grew up in the South, so that was like, like
required viewing.
Once you live there for a year and they know you're going to be there for a while, like the city sits you down and says, y'all got to watch this. That fried green tomatoes. There's a few
Yeah.
of them. Driving Miss Daisy. Like there's
Yeah,
a few of them.
they come in a little care package with some green tomatoes that you can fry up yourself and some.
right.
And yeah, Upgrade from 2018, very cool. It's like the sci-fi version of Venom, but it's actually a much better movie.
Oh, really?
As much as I
haven't
like
seen that
Venom
one either.
but it's like the same basic idea that a guy's got an AI in his head and it kind of controls him. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's also like Tom Hardy's in Venom, and this is the guy who kind of looks like Tom Hardy, the guy who was in Prometheus, you know, that guy.
Oh, I may have seen Upgrade. Maybe.
And yeah, Tracy, I completely agree. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
We come up with so many movies, and Thrash has so many obscure movies that I've never heard of. We love it.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Upgrade. I have seen that. That is so good.
See?
Oh,
Yeah, I think
You're
I've
correct,
seen
Ben.
it. It looks like a movie I've seen, but it may have been a while ago, like when it came out, kind of thing, and I just don't remember all of it.
No,
now, but
it
yeah,
is
I might have to
like
rewatch
Logan
it.
Marshall, like in his like perplexed confusion.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything that's happening. He does it so well.
And those action scenes are so well choreographed.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, like him doing the things and being confused about why he's doing what he's doing. And I think he was in a TV show that I really love too. But anyways,
Sean, I'm not the only one. I have
Damnation.
actually never
He was in
seen
Damnation.
Gone with the Wind. I've never
Really?
seen it.
Really?
I'm a gigantic film nerd, but I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
Great
I
movie.
don't,
Really.
just never gotten around to it.
like the fact that it has like you're watching this movie and then all of a sudden pops up intermission with music and you're like what?
Yeah, they had those.
So like
I watch
that's
a lot of movies that like Dr. Zhivago has one, and I particularly love the intermission in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
God, yes. Oh yes. No.
Oh.
So a little thing. So my mother-in-law, who is from Vietnam and
Good
came over
call,
as a
Slasher
refugee.
Fred.
What was it?
Class of '99.
Class of 99. Oh. Okay, but like she came from Vietnam as a refugee, and that was like her favorite movie from America. And so, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you said intermission, that started playing in my head. I'm still stuck in there. Oh,
Okay, let's move on.
Damian's
let's move
turn.
on. Okay, so I'm gonna. I guess this is gonna be the last one. So I'm gonna end it with a very cute, kind of warm and fuzzy movie in the end, at least. From beloved movie from the late '80s, about some little tiny flying saucers.
I knew you were going to say that.
He's not included.
Dang, it's on my
Yes.
list too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It actually wasn't on my list until it popped into my head while we were doing this. So, and then I was like, "Ooh, that needs to be in there." So,
I've got it over there too, but I'm not going to go grab it.
I love that. I loved that movie when I was that age, and still to this day. I got it on Blu-ray somewhere over there because I couldn't find it one day on a streaming service. I was like, "Screw it, I'm getting online and buying it." So yeah, it's just two little flying saucers from outer space that are looking to find a place to nest and make a little family, and they just need energy, lots
And raw material,
lots.
like
and raw materials,
like Coke cans
some
and stuff.
junk
Yeah.
and some odd hubcap and some forks and things,
Well,
And they're
she's
just
pregnant.
so cute.
Yeah, they
She's
are.
like they
She's
need all that
pregnant and they
stuff.
can't
She's
go
pregnant.
anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
they have to
doesn't
find
have the
someplace and
energy,
someplace
she's-
quick.
yeah. So,
And
yeah,
also, like the subplot of the movie is like stereotype 1980s movie where they
Yeah.
have this like apartment building and they're not willing to leave, and like a bunch of thugs are trying to like kick them
Yeah,
out so that some
yeah.
real estate developer can
It's
come
a
in.
developer building a
They've
a
destroyed
a
everything
skyscraper
around.
them.
Yeah.
It's one of
It
those.
reminds
They're
me of the
upgraded,
movie
yeah.
Up, where they're trying to get him to move out.
Yes.
I was like, the first time I saw Up, I was like, that's batteries not included right there.
And the old couple is Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin, two of the like
Yep,
greatest actors ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Jessica Tandy,
So
like
much fun.
like Driving Miss Daisy and Oscar
Yep.
winner, like yeah. No, and then also because I watched it yesterday with
Oh,
my
you
daughter.
watched this yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh. haven't watched it in several years, but you know.
No.
Really? It was written by Brad Bird? I didn't know that, but that makes total sense to me.
But it's got Elizabeth Pena. It's got Dennis
Elizabeth Pena, I freaking love her.
Boutsicaris. I think
Sure.
he was from 30 something. I think he was in 30 something also. It's got Frank Ray, who's like the ex-boxer and like the superintendent or whatever for the building. And he's like, he won't talk because of the fact that he's just this gentle giant, right?
Right.
And he doesn't say anything except for and it maybe like they didn't really say anything about it, but like maybe he was a little bit punch drunk. But he would watch TV all day and watch commercials, and he would only speak in. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know she passed away. No.
In 2014. So yeah.
Did she really?
Yep.
Oh, devastating. Okay. Yeah. So he's and he like there was a devastating moment of a stillbirth that Frank McRae like his Harry Noble, his character again, Harry Noble, like Noble the last name, right? Oh, like little, like, but like he's
the little guy.
Yeah, he comes to the rescue and builds this attachment and Michael Carmine plays Carlos, who's the thug that's hired.
Yeah.
And my daughter's like, I just want him to die. And I'm like, no. That's kind of
he sort of redeems into the end.
Right.
Sort of.
Like but again, the thing that I love about it, like he says, like he never had a dad, and Jessica Tandy has dementia, and she thinks that it's their son, and there's a powerful like psychological thing going on with her as far as like their relationship with their son and what's happened with their son or whatever. And like he's like, lady, like why do you keep calling me your son and all this different stuff? But he builds this attachment to her, right? And eventually like surprisingly rescues her from a danger without breaking her hip. That was, I was like, she didn't break her hip during that? Like, come on, man. She's got some strong hips. Double. All right, no. I know. Well, like, how do you do this to a woman at her age and not break a hip? Like, come on. Like, anyways, but it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Now you're making me want to watch it.
Yeah. You absolutely have to rewatch it. Completely holds up.
I keep putting it in my like Patreon vote lists for like movies I can cover, and it never wins. Makes me very sad.
one of the memorable scenes that I always remember from that movie is after it burns down, and the runt of the litter, the stillborn one who was jolted back to life, or jolted into life, I guess, is in the entryway.
I'm a healthcare worker. I'm always worried about the elderly and their hips, or just like that's when it all goes downhill.
But he's in the entryway, placing one of those little octagonal tiles back.
Oh, right, the tiles. Yeah.
In the entry, that front entry was like kind of like central to or was a plot device at least.
Yes.
Right.
From the beginning all the way through.
It was representing all the history of the building and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't do that anymore, right?
And Frank,
anymore.
Not really,
or Harry Noble, or whatever Harry in the movie was actually always trying to fix the tiles in that front entry. So, and that little robot putting it in there, it's just like it's not. Come on, guys, it's not over. We can fix it. And then all of the robots descend and put it back together. So make it brand new.
I have seen clips of that. The Mae West thing.
Yeah.
That is messed up. Wrestling is so wild.
Oh, I love that call. Oh, beautiful call there. Oh, yeah. No. I like it. And again, it's that like holding on to what got us here versus our. Versus like an egotistical desire to not appreciate history and create something that's just here for profit, right? That doesn't have soul, right? And like you think about like the soul of a city, and you know the average person loves the soul of the city. You talk about anybody from what was it that I was watching with? I'll get to, like, I'll bring that movie up or whatever, but like they bring up Brooklyn Strong and like, you know, that love for Brooklyn, right? And you know, this even we're seeing it today, this gentrification, and this updating where it's pushing out the residents that have lived there for you know, decades, right? And they're losing their homes because someone wants to make a profit, and you're getting priced out of your area, even though you're part of that history. This town, like this area, has a history, and we don't care about that as long as we're making profits, right? And
Well, I mean, the movie's about
really
like
touched on that.
the movie's about like nurturing history, nurturing other people, like, because all these people who live in this apartment complex, they're all broken in one way or another. They're all messed up people, and they're very different people, but they manage to come together to nurture not only the robots, but also like the apartment building and each other. That's what the movie's about. And like, that's why the one thug actually kind of has a redemption in the end.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. It's one big family in the end. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what the movie's about. And it's a real feel good movie. And those robots are so darn cute.
Yes, they are.
And again, like just nurturing people that are different than us, we can come together because we're really all brothers and sisters in it. In the end, right? Versus exploiting one another for our own gain, right? And so like it's that two contrasting things that we're still struggling with. You know, here we are like 40 years later.
I think that's just part of the human condition. Like we're always going to keep struggling with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so basically, rise up to people and let's eat the rich. And so that's ultimately this. Right?
I got my knife and my fork right here. Let's go.
Bring the barbecue. Let's go.
Somebody got a torch?
Torches
Who's got the torches?
And barbecue sets. And so,
Viva la revolution. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I think we're going to call it. Again, Thrash is currently over at that other podcast, which name I already forgot. He's talking about them. Dave Sundstrom is going to have a members only stream in about 20 minutes. I've got a Twilight Zone video dropping in about 20 minutes. And if you're a patron of mine, you can actually watch my review of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, which I put on Patreon today.
Great.
And yeah, we'll do a From Here to Paternity stream in a couple weeks when we do part 2 of this same weekend.
Yep.
And yeah, so we don't have any honorable mentions because we got 2 more of these to go, I'm sure.
Yes. Oh yeah, we got plenty.
My list just keeps getting longer and longer the longer I think about it. So on that note, goodbye everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Tracy, Danny, Sean, Indy, John, them, Tristan, everybody else. If I forgot you, I'm very sorry. And thank you, Thrash. Thank you, Lance. Sorry you couldn't stick around, but at least you were there in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget, Thrash has another live stream tonight. So,
yes.
Yep.
So yeah,
7:30 Eastern.
7:30 Eastern.